this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to get started on our Ireland layouts. Although the first couple are mostly airport layouts because it takes a couple of different legs of traveling for us to get there. So bear with me, but these first couple are super fun and really quick, I think. So let's take a look at today's, and we are going to be traveling from Utah to Chicago, and I like it. I think it's going to turn out really good. So let's check it out. Okay, here is my workspace for today, and since this is kind of the first layout of this album, I thought I would point out to you I am using Spargo pages for this album. This is, I think, the first time in my 25 plus years of using CM products that I'm using Spargo. And for those of you who are not familiar with Spargo, I should just kind of explain. Spargo is not just a color necessarily, but you can see next to the white it is very different. It's not a white page, but it's not the natural pages that I used for Hawaii. Here's the natural page. So that's kind of the difference there. I wanted something that had a little bit of color to it, but not, so it wasn't a stark white page, but I didn't feel like the natural page is really what I wanted either. So we're going to try Spargo for this, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really nice base for these pages. I have permanent and repositionable adhesive, CM adhesive, to use today, and I have some pictures that I have pre-cropped. Many of them, the majority of them, are 4x3. 3x4, however that's supposed to be, so that they're vertical like this. A couple of them are horizontal. I'm going to see how I can coordinate that, and this one I have to kind of decide how that one's going to get cropped. So we'll get to that when we get that far. I have a peekaboo pocket I think we're going to use for a couple of photos and maybe a mat card. Again, that's going to be, we'll get to that a little bit later after we have these two pages designed. Oh, and actually this is the white page right here, but you can still see the difference there. This white page is the calendar page that I did a few videos back, and the back side of this page is going to be our first traveling page. I have one piece of white cardstock which we will use. I have two pieces of the newest traveling collection, which I have to refresh my memory, is called Passport to Adventure. And I pulled out these two blue sheets that have kind of a generic map on them. They have a blue and white stripe on the back as well. Those are going to actually be base sheets we're going to use on these two pages so that I can sort of mask the fact that this page is white. It won't be as obvious, or at least I'm hoping it won't be as obvious, because it will be covered with a base page. I have these two laser layered borders, which are new. They come with the new collection. And something new that CM is doing is when you buy the laser borders, you get two of each design, which I think is so nice, because I typically do 2-page layouts, so I need two of each border in order to make my pages cohesive, and having to buy two packs of them is kind of painful on my wallet sometimes, so it's nice that they have figured that out. I also have this sheet, which is also from the the Passport to Adventure collection, which is a really nice collection. I'll just show it to you really quick. It has some really great colors to it. You can see up here the coordinating cardstock is canary, avocado, dark sea green, navy, and black, and those are the colors that you see inside these designs. Really, really cute. And you're going to see these show up in my Ireland layouts as we go. They'll be added to a bunch of other papers that I've been collecting and using, but they're perfect. Perfect traveling papers. And I have 2 sheets of avocado cardstock also out here, which matches perfectly because it's one of those 5 that they recommended, that the home office recommended. All right, so I'm going to trim a couple of pieces for this layout. So let me just show you. First, I'm going to cut just 2 strips of this. I'm going to cut at 1 3/4 inches. That's what my little note is reminding me of. This is for a border, and because it's 1 3/4 inch and not larger than that, I can use the right hand side of my trimmer to measure that. So 1 3/4 inches is the very last mark on the ruler on the right hand side. So we're going to cut 2 pieces at that same measurement. So we've got those 2 with the cute little tag paper. The back side of the tag paper looks like water, which is also kind of cool. Then I'm going to take my avocado cardstock, and I've got 2 little notes right here to remind me of what I need to cut for that. I'm going to cut 4 1/2" by 12" pieces, and those I'm going to use the right hand side of my trimmer again. The reason I use the right hand side of my trimmer as much as possible is because the more I can keep the balance of my paper lined up with a shoulder, either at the top of my trimmer or the bottom of my trimmer, to help it stay straight, the better cut I'm going to get, the more accurately straight cut I'm going to get. So I will use the right hand side of my trimmer as much as I can for any cut that is less than 1 3/4" or 1 3/4 or less. Oh, and that one is not right. That's 1/4 inch. I don't know. I think I was talking and not paying attention. All right, so I need 2 more 1/2" pieces. Here we go. There's 3, and here is 4. Just like that. All right, then we need between 10 and 12 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I believe, let's just do a little bit of math here. So this piece is now 9 3/4. So if we cut this at 4 1/4 and we cut another one at 4 1/4, we would be at 8 1/2. Or if we cut it at 3 1/4 and then another at 3 1/4 and then another at 1, 2, 3 1/4, that would actually probably do us better. So we'll cut these. We'll make 3 strips that are all 3 1/4. And so to do that, I'm going to place my edge of my paper at the 3 1/4 grid mark. And a lot of times, I don't know if your trimmer is like this, but I know mine is. For some reason, my grid marks that measure the 3 1/4 are either slightly crooked or somehow they don't always line up with my measures at the top, and I don't know why that is, but it just is. And so I will tend to go with lining my paper up on my grid mark, on my grid line, rather than lining my paper up with the mark at the top or the bottom of my ruler. And so you just kind of have to get to know your trimmer. Sometimes in manufacturing they get just a tiny bit wonky, and other times they may not be wonky at all. I've used mine enough that I've gotten to know that that's how mine is, so that's okay. It works because I know how to cut with it. So 4 1/4, lining it up with the grid line and somewhat with the measure at the top. So 4 1/4 and 4 1/4. And then we still have some, how large are these? These are about 3 5/8 by 3 1/4. So we'll see if we can use those somehow in what we're doing. Okay, so that gives us how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's cut some more of those. And we will, let's try cutting them 4 1/4 this way. I think it doesn't really matter whether we cut them 4 1/4 this direction first or 3 1/4 this direction first. We'll probably end up getting the same amount. But let's try it because we didn't cut the strips off of this paper. I mean off of this 12 by 12, so we're gonna go up here to 3 1/4. So we had 6, now we have 8. Now we have 10. I'm gonna wait on this larger one and I'll show you why in a minute. I'm gonna bring this other strip in here. We're gonna cut 2 more, and I'm gonna cut these at 4 1/4 first, and then 3 1/4 this way. So there's 9 or 11, I think, right? I've lost track. So let's see how many we've gotten. Bless you! Someone just sneezed upstairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so now we have 12. That should be plenty. I have a couple of pictures that I have not trimmed yet because I wasn't sure if I wanted to trim them or not. So we may need larger pieces to mat those. So that's why I didn't want to cut those larger pieces. All right, let's take a look at this and get some of the basics on the page, and then we will look at mounting the photos. So first I'm going to go ahead and adhere my base papers, and then we'll worry about the border we're going to assemble. Alright, so before I go ahead and adhere this down, I just wanted to kind of point out this, if I was to turn this direction, you can see that this is exactly the same as this. Now, I could go ahead and adhere it like that, but I want a little variety. I don't want it to be obvious that this paper is exactly the same as this paper. So I can turn this and it becomes almost like it's a completely different sheet of paper. Or I can turn it again and have this large kind of river looking space kind of meet together in the center, which is I think what I'm going to do. I just wanted to kind of point that out to you so you could see that you don't want to go ahead and put it down exactly the same way when you have a base paper. You want the variety, so you want it to look unique. And by doing that, it makes it look different, like it's a unique piece. Okay, so now I'm going to take these long pieces that we cut initially, and I'm going to set these bases aside for just a second. We're going to take these pieces and we're going to put edges on them. Well, we're going to put edges on the top at least for now. So I'm going to take my repositionable adhesive, and actually I'm going to put my repositionable adhesive down the edge of my wider piece, and I want it to be on the top, but I want to see about 1/8 of an inch of the green. So if you're uncomfortable, like if you don't feel like you can look at that and visually guess where 1/8 of an inch is going to be, if you're working on a grid like I am, this is a self-healing mat that I'm working on. It's actually a crafting mat that's designed for quilters. You'll find it in the quilting area of your favorite craft store. These are great for being able to judge your space, so they really, really are helpful in that regard. And if not, then you might want to get one. The CM has a, hang on, it's here. I just have to get it. Creative Memories sells a 13-inch cutting mat that looks like this. And these work great as well because they give you all the different angles that you could possibly want. They give you inches down to 1/8 of an inch and centimeters across the top and the sides. So really helpful for being able to tell where you need to cut or fold or anything like that. And oftentimes what Creative Memories advisors will do is take those mats and they will tape them together on the back with some strong duct tape, and that enables the mats to be able to fold. And because many of us like to go to retreats and things like that, and you'll want to take your self-healing mat with you to work on top of, and so that just helps to be able to fold that in half, fold those in half. Definitely helps. Okay, so this is going to go then, and I'm going to use some repositionable adhesive to adhere this to my page, just in case I need to lift it back up again. But this is going to go across the top, about 1/2 an inch from the top. And I'm going to start, working from the center out. I always try to make sure the center is flush, and that way if anything overlaps because of whatever, it's on the outside. So you can see that my avocado cardstock is a little bit longer than the rest of my papers. So I am just going to trim that really quick so that it's even, like that. Occasionally that happens where the cardstock is just a little bit, or sometimes it happens with other papers too, not just cardstock. So, and that is that's considered within normal limits. They can be a certain measurement, plus or minus what the actual measurement is that you want. So it's just part of the industry standards. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my pages together. You can see how I put my edges of my pages together here. And I do that so that I can have a better look at where this is, so that I can line them up and try to make them level, so they are the same. All right, so there we've got that. Now we're going to take our airplanes, and our airplanes are going to go across the bottom of that border. But I think I want, the reason we cut 4 of these is because I think I want that green to show up underneath the airplanes, and I wasn't sure if it would show, so I just wanted to check and see if that would. I think it will. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this 1/2 inch piece flush to the edge of this one, so not tucked under like we did with the one on top, but right against the edge, like this, because the border that I'm adding on over top of the seam is I need to trim that off just a skosh, like that. The border that's going to go over the top is kind of a wide border, so, but it's got all these little cut-ins, and so I wasn't sure what we would be able to see. It turns out I'm going to put this over the seam, so the seam of the green is right at the highest little notch right there between the yellow and the blue airplanes, but I can still see the green underneath. Okay, so we're going to do that again. And this is starting from the outside, which I probably shouldn't have done, but that's okay. We're going to just trim it real quick. Now that we know that we have to trim the edge just a little bit, I can do that before I put it down. Okay, and then we'll do the other airplanes. These airplanes are so cute and fun. All right. Okay, so there are our borders. Now what we're going to do is come in here with our pictures and figure out where they are going to line up. I am loosely following a blog post that Creative Memories put out a while ago. This was for Brave, I think. no, Called to Serve. And this came out in 2023 for Veterans Day in November, so a few months back, and I never was able to do anything with it really, but I liked the way that it is laid out, and so this is kind of roughly what I'm following, or where I got the idea kind of from, but I'm not following it exactly. So if you pull this up on the CM blog, it will have some of the measurements I'm using, but not all of them, because I have changed it up just a little bit, because I'm using some larger photos than what we've got on here and various things like that. But anyway, just so that you have a reference of where you can go for more information if you need to read it. So I know some people have to read it rather than listen to it. And so these are the photos of our plane trip. We've got some pictures of us walking through the airport. We've got some pictures of us actually on the airplane. And the pictures that are going to probably go in the peekaboo pocket are actually from, well, this one is from the night before. And this is a tentative itinerary for the very first day that we get there. So, so we'll see how this all works together, because this photo is horizontal, but the rest of these are vertical. So let's see what we can do here. I may have to get creative about some of this. Move this down. Our airport here in Salt Lake City is pretty much brand new. They opened the new terminal after, I think it was after we moved here, so that's been less than 5 years ago. So that's still pretty new. And now they are working on a second terminal, so really cool stuff. All right, and this is all of us on the airplane, and so I've got another horizontal picture. There's my mom and my girls, my sister, my two youngest kids. These are my two oldest daughters, and somehow when we handed out the tickets, all three of us ended up sitting right next to each other, which made for a very cozy flight. So let's see here. I know I'm gonna need, we're gonna mat these with the green, and you can see how it just sort of pulls the green that's in our border at the top into the rest of the layout. Having all the pictures be of similar size is kind of unique and different. I've never tried to cut all of my pictures so that they were the same size before. This is kind of a different way of doing this. And then matting them all is also kind of different for me, because I don't typically mat every photo that I place, which if you've been watching my channel, then you already know that. All right, so this one right here is going to need one of these longer pieces. Remember how I saved these? So I can trim that up and put that there. And we can trim this one up. Oh, actually, that's kind of perfect. I may not need to trim that up, except for just to make it kind of work. Okay, so we've got this extra cardstock we can use in another layout, and I'll need to pull some extra cardstock for that. Let me go ahead and mount these photos to the cardstock, and then and I'll probably go ahead and mount them on the layout as well, and then we'll talk about what to do in these open spaces. Okay? So now I have the photos on here the way I want them. Now we're going to look at some embellishments. Let's check out all the embellishments that we have for Passport to Adventure. So these are some of the stickers that come with this collection. Lots of cool arrows and luggage and things like that, which is awesome. And these are the embellishments. So we've got, if you are familiar with the Passport to Adventure collection, then you know that we got a really cool postage stamp punch that came out with this. And so in the embellishments you'll find postage stamps that fit into that punch. So that's kind of cool. If you ever have used or sent home mail to people while you've been on vacation, that can be a cool thing to do to have them share your experience, right? So let's see, departure, arrival, those will be fun to use. We didn't have any flights get canceled, thank goodness, but we did have one get delayed, so I'm going to keep that one in mind for when we are on our way home. But that'll be a while. So I'm not worried about using that one anytime soon. Alright. Oh, on time and delayed. Interesting. Cute. Alright, so we've got all these really cute embellishments here. We've got some, wow, I haven't seen an old ticket like that in a really long time. Do you remember when we used to have tickets, like printed tickets? Every time that I have flown in recent years, I've just had it on my phone. So, kind of cool. We could use Let's Go, because this is exciting to finally get to head out. We'll save that one for another time. There's a boarding pass and another stamp. Cool. So these are really fun and very cool to use, and the enamel stickers are also really fun. Hard to keep the glare from hitting them, but super fun. I may actually use those. I'm not really big on the enamel stickers either, but I'll try to get better. Okay, let's see here. I was actually thinking that What is Life But One Grand Adventure would be a cute one to use. Or The Sky Is the Limit. Or, let's see, I've got an airplane here. I've got Let's Go. We need, so on the example that we have, that we're loosely following, they actually used another mat to use as a journal and to add stickers to. So I think I'm going to do that, and I'll put this piece right here. And then, what is life but one grand adventure? Let's see. Should we use some stickers? I like the luggage, but I don't know. Maybe we could put the luggage right down here in the corner, or here in the corner. Maybe that would be more appropriate over here, since we have all the luggage that we're rolling everywhere. So maybe we'll do that. This will be our embellishment for this little spot right here. So we've got our 2 pieces of luggage. And we'll plaster the sky is the limit across those, just for fun. But I'm not going to put any stickies, foam squares on there, because I'm going to put foam squares on this guy. Well, if I can find my foam squares. They seem to have gone adrift. Here's one. One little bitty foam square. I'm sure I have more around here somewhere. Where did they go? Give me 1 second, I'll find some. All right, here's more. I'll put a big one on this end, and maybe a smaller one in the middle. We actually could put this up here. What is life but one grand adventure? And then we'll put something smaller down here so that we have more room to journal. And maybe we'll do something right there too. So I'm just going to put that right in that kind of open space right there. And we'll do maybe we'll just add a little camera up there. And we'll stick a little sticky on the back of there too. And then I'm going to use this one for the corner. All right, so let's see. You could say departure. Maybe like that. just need something small kind of for that spot right there. What if we just said so much fun? Or we could say up and away. The up and the way is the same color as this one, so that would actually probably be good because it'll carry the color a little bit, add a little more of that blue in there. Up and away. Like that. And then I think we will save these for our next one. All right. So the only other thing we need to do is the peekaboo pocket, and I'm actually going to think about the peekaboo pocket. I might add that to a different page. We'll see. So for now, I think I'm just going to go with this as our finished product, and I'll let you know if I change anything in future videos. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that this has been inspiring, helpful, giving you some ideas, and I'm excited to get started on this Ireland vacation finally and get to these layouts. So we're going to be doing this for a while, so just settle in and enjoy, and I'll do the best I can to explain what you're seeing in the photos as we go, because that's half the fun of seeing somebody's vacation photos, right? So I hope you enjoy it. I think it's going to be a great time. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Thanks for joining me. Take care.